Okay guys, hey, Spooky Doll Lady here. We're going to be finishing my two faces today. So what's left to do is painting over the graphic liner on both of them with black acrylic. Um, Obviously I did end up doing the mouth off camera just because I wasn't sure I'd be able to finish both of them on camera if I left that to do too. Um, because when there's teeth involved, painting a mouth is a lot of covering mistakes and oops, there's another mistake. Let's go back to the step before and cover that. Oops, now I have to cover the other color, and it becomes a whole thing. It ends up taking a fair bit of time. So I just wanted to kind of save myself that time. So what I'm going to be doing today is finishing with the black acrylic paint, and I'm going to use the same paint I used on their lip color because you can see it's a nice, very dark, very matte black. And I can see it's dark enough in here already. I think I would like to have my light on. Oops, let me get it the right color balance. I'm going to start my light off kind of low over here because it does create a fair bit of glare if I put it on too bright. Okay, so yeah, anyway, nice matte black color. I'm going to use that same matte black for the eyeliner. And then I want to add just a light amount of freckles to both faces. And I actually want to try, oops, let me not get their beading strings in my paint water. Not that there's any paint in it yet. I want to try a slightly different method for that today that I saw recently on a YouTube video. I can't remember whose video it was. I'm sorry. I normally like to credit, but anyway, I also have my respirator because doing the whole run outside and hold my breath to spray the MSC thing is just, I don't want to do that today. I'd rather just put the respirator on. So I got that ready to go because I will be needing to spray them before I can put the IMAX back in and reassemble. But I do have the IMAX all painted and ready to go. I can actually pop this one in real quick just so you can kind of see, for those who aren't Blythe people, when the IMAX are in, this is more what the face will look like. Trying to get her eyes to settle. There's normally a bar that holds the eyes in place. Obviously the bars are not in there right now because the mechs are not in place, but this is basically what the face will look like. And then when it's closed, it'll look like that. Okay, so after I finish painting them, I have all of their little screws and things to put the T-bars back in place, put the faces back together, and put them back on their bodies. But first, I gotta paint. I'm gonna try some freckles, and then I have these little nail art gems, which I'm going to glue on as their piercings. I'm trying to get them to flip over because they are actually colored. They're not just all silver. Some of them are silver and some of them are colored. There we go. Well, anyway, I don't want to tip it too far because if they fall and I have to dig new ones out of the little baggies, it's a whole pain in the butt thing I don't want to do again. I'm actually not sure where I even put the extras. I think maybe, yeah, I'm not even sure where I put the extras, so I'm going to try really hard not to drop any of those. Oh, that reminds me, I also forgot to grab toothpicks. I need to get toothpicks to apply the glue. So, give me 1 second. Go. Toothpicks. Alright, now I got everything I need. I'm going to start with the painting. So, let me grab one of my little bitty brushes over here. Is this the right one? This is not the right one, but I may need that one later. Let me just grab my whole brush mug. There's a liner in here somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. If I can't find the liner, I think the round brush would also probably work okay. Why am I only finding my spotters? It's because these brushes they're shorter, so once they're in there, sometimes it's harder to dig them out. Anyway, I guess I can work with the round and the spotter for now. That'll be enough for the moment. Okay. None of these lines need to be super duper fine, so I guess it's okay if I can't find the liner. Oh, the other thing that I'm going to be doing, I want to change out their eyelashes. And I'm also going to be adding bottom eyelashes for Effie. I think I'm going to go with one set of lashes will actually be enough to do both dolls' eyes. So I really just need to pick one that's going to look good with both of them. I'm thinking probably this set. Because it's full but not like obnoxious, you know. It's still fairly close to the lashes that they have on there already. These just look a little bit more natural in my opinion and a little bit less plasticky. Although honestly these may even be a little bit thinner than what they have, so I think I'm actually going to go with these ones back here instead. Yeah, those are a little closer, I think. Hey, Julie. So I'm going to set these aside to swap out their eyelashes. I may actually do that first because I also want to paint over the adhesive side on these since they're going to be bottom lashes, and the adhesive side is currently the side that needs to be facing up. And it's really hard to actually get the adhesive off. So what I've found is I just grab what I can with my fingernails, and then whatever doesn't come off easily, I'm just going to paint over with that black acrylic, and that'll kind of neutralize the stickiness, and then I can glue them on from the back and use them as bottom lashes. So let me pop these out before I start painting, because I want to get one of my yuckier brushes out to do this so I don't ruin one of my good brushes with lash adhesive. I'm just gonna kind of set them there. And I'm not going to use the lash glue for this because lash glue isn't actually all that sticky. Most of the time it's basically liquid latex. And what I actually want is my good craft glue. So I may do that first too, because then I can paint any of the black that gets chipped off by pulling these out. I'm going to see if I can get them by hand. I usually have to use pliers. Oh, there we go. So you just pull them out just like that. And then when you put the new ones in, you can see there's a slot. Oops, there goes my camera. So what I'm going to do is cut the new lashes to this length and just kind of shove them up into that same slot and then glue them. So I'm going to set these over here. And these lashes honestly aren't bad. Like, this is not by any means a necessary step to customizing a Blythe doll. I just prefer the falsies because I just think that they're more realistic looking, and these are a little bit more plasticky. All right, the second set is not coming off in one piece. Yeah, I don't think they look good. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. They can definitely suffice if you're not comfortable pulling them out. Like if you're afraid you're going to damage the iMac or something, then go ahead and leave them. I just think that the custom lashes look much nicer. I did think about, honestly, yeah, see, this is why this was a good idea to do this first, because there are a couple of little nicks in that paint, and this way I can just touch that up while I have my paint open as I do their eyes. Okay, set those out. I also was thinking about maybe doing colored lashes, but I think that I did with, oh, that one came right out. Wow, look at that. I'm going to stick that one there since it came out in one piece, and that's going to be my, oh my gosh, look, that one came out super nice too. I can use that to cut the length. What was I saying? I was thinking about doing colored lashes because, you know, they're my colored girls, my green and purple, and I thought it would be kind of fun to have colored eyelashes. But I kind of feel like the amount of colors on these faces already, I think that might be a bit much. So, I'm just going to go with black. Lash snob. Yeah, honestly, like, I think these look so much nicer. And these aren't even, like, really nice fake lashes. These are plastic lashes. They look so much nicer and softer and more like an actual eyelash. Okay, so the way that I do this usually, you can see how it tapers at the sides. So I'm going to take one of the shorter edges and line it up with these other lashes. And I will pull these closer. I just need to have them under my light so that I can see exactly where they're going. Okay, and I just see how I line that up on there. And then I'm going to snip it right there. And then that way I have this extra one, and that's going to go on the other side. So one lash is basically a full set of eyes, but I'm going to trim this just a tiny bit because there's an extra bit of black here. So I'm just going to get my little... Just trying to get it as close to the actual edge of the lashes as possible so I can get as many lashes into that little eyelid as I can, because there's not a whole lot of space there. Okay. Line this back up. Alright, and then take my little bitty snippers and just cut it right there. I'll set this bit aside for now. And separate these. And see, you got a full eye of eyelashes right there. So let me see if I can get these up in here without my tweezers. I think I might be able to, just because these are much shorter than the other ones. And you don't always even need glue on them. I'm going to push them up in there and see if wiggling them around makes them fall out. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to just leave it, because you can always glue them later. Alright, so wiggling them around is not making them fall out, but see how much nicer that looks? It just looks so much more like real lashes. And then when I put the mech back in, see, that just looks, I feel like it just looks so much nicer. It looks so pretty. And they're longer, they're curlier. So even like from the side, I just think they look nicer. You know, like if you don't want to take the original ones out, it's totally fine, but I think it does make a difference, you know? So that's one eye. Still got to do the other one. Pop this back out. And I'm playing with Abby's because Abby's face and Mac, for whatever reason, are a little bit looser than Effie's. So I can keep popping them in and out, and I'm not really damaging any of that paint on there. So next, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just stick that down, and same thing where it's just kind of got a bit of extra plastic there. So I'm going to snip that right off. I think I can get that even a tiny bit closer. You don't want to go too close because, especially with these cheapy lashes, if you get right up on the little hairs, sometimes it'll just start shredding on the edge. Because again, they are just plastic. It's literally shredded plastic. But it looks nice. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stick it down on top. And I really love that these Blythe lashes are just so nice and sticky because it really helps with this. So I'm going to stick it down really good. Peel this up. And see, I even have a little piece left that if I want to use later for something else, I can. Because I clipped it nice and carefully. And I do sometimes like to use these for bottom lashes. So I'm going to set this aside over here. Either bottom lashes or lash extensions on different types of dolls. These little pieces work really well for. Oh, I don't want to get rid of that yet because I still have to do Effie's, and hers did not come apart in one piece. Okay, so I'm gonna. Oops. This one may not go in. This lid seems to be a little bit more snug than the other one. I may have to get my tweezers to get them in there all the way. I don't want to use my fingers because you can't actually bend these because, again, they are just plastic. They're not anything fancy. But if you get all the way down to where the bottom is, sometimes you can just kind of help it get in there with a little bit of a nudge. All right. Kind of push the lids down to secure them, and then do the same thing I did with the other one. Just kind of wiggle it around and see if it pops out. And it's in there pretty good. So, all right, that's one eye of new lashes all done. And that was only with one eyelash. So I'm going to get this next one. If I can get it off. This one seems to be stuck on a little better, which is not a bad thing, because that means that the adhesive on this one is nice and strong, and I probably also won't have to glue it in place. So now that I got that out, yeah, see, with Abby's, because her lashes came out so nice, I didn't actually damage any of the black paint, so that's okay. But oh, hey, Tracy. Yeah, but with Effie's, I did nick a couple of places with the pliers as I was pulling them out. So that's why I did this first, so that when I get my black paint opened, I can fix that. Okay, so I'm going to just snip off the extra piece. Oop. A little bit of adhesive on the edge here. I'm going to try and snip that off too because it will be visible once I shove those lashes in there. Okay. And they even, there's a little bit of adhesive just in between the lashes. I just want to gently see if I can, there we go, pick that out. Because again, it just makes everything look a little bit neater. Okay, so same thing, just stick it on. Oops, this one, there we go. I couldn't get it stuck down for a second. I think I hit a slippery spot on the Blythe lash. Okay, so now that that's on there, oh my gosh, I love that. Snagging stuff from the kids for the dolls. Alright. Well, this one isn't really super duper neatly on top of there, and I don't want to snip in between the lashes because sometimes, again, that makes it fall apart. So since there's a really nice break right here instead, I'm going to cut that and leave it just a little bit longer. Oh, there we go. Just a little bit longer than the original Blythe lash, and I think it should still fit really nicely into the eyelid without shredding the new lashes. So I'm gonna see if that works. Yeah, I might need to give a little bit of extra nudging just because it's a tiny bit longer than the actual eyelid. So let me just kind of finagle it a bit, and then once I get that corner in, I think I would be able to get it in better with the tweezers. And these are not fancy tweezers. Most of what I use is nothing super fancy. These are actually the tweezers that came with my serger. So they have a nice tip for grabbing thread, which works well also for grabbing eyelashes. So I'm just trying to kind of work this in there a little bit because this lash was a little bit longer. I mean, width-wise, it was a little bit longer. So it's not wanting to go in quite as easily. But again, I was kind of worried that if I tried to cut in the middle of the fibers that they would just come apart. So I think it's in there pretty good. It's passing the wiggle test. It's not falling out. So I'm going to let that be and do the next one. I'm going to set the crummy plastic ones over here. Okay, so I got to trim off the end again on this. There we go. Okay. And we're going to stick it on here. And I'm running into the same thing. I'm wondering if maybe these mechs are like just slightly different sizes. Because I'm having the same thing with this eyelash where it's like right in the middle of a clump of fibers, and I don't want to cut into that little bunch of fibers. So I'm going to cut Gotta make sure I actually cut through all of it. Just slightly over again. All right, and then I think I may end up having to do a little bit of finagling again since it was over again. But for the most part, I think this is going to work. Oh, I just have to get this corner right here to go in. Let's see if I just pull out the middle bit and get the corner in first and then work the middle bit back in. Let's try that. Yeah, okay, there we go. Oh, nope, the corner popped back out. So there's not quite enough adhesive holding that corner in. So I haven't actually made anything for Blythe's that I used my serger on, just because I feel like it adds a little bit too much bulk for a doll this size. So what I'll typically do is use pinking shears and then just press it really good to get it to press the seam out flat, to try and keep it looking professional without any actually finished edges. I just haven't found a way to serge things yet without adding that extra bulk. And at this scale, it gets very messy very quickly. So I do occasionally, I will serge, where did my tweezers go? I just put them away. I will serge like a gathered edge, because I might be worried that that would unravel over time, even if I put fray check or something on it. So I might serge that, but otherwise I really do try to avoid serging Blythe clothes. Oh my gosh. I'm having a devil of a time getting this corner into the eyelid. And I know some people like to actually take the eyelids off. I'm not one of those people. Let me grab a sewing and see if maybe I just need something smaller to nudge it in there. I did add glue, and unfortunately the glue, because it's a quick dry glue, it gets real clumpy real fast, and if I don't get this eyelash in there, it's gonna clump up, and I'm not gonna, yeah, it's already clumping. I'm not gonna be able to get it in there with the glue on it, so I have to pull that glue back off. Alright, this may require a more liquid glue, so good old Elmer's. It doesn't need to be super strong. It really just needs to hold the eyelash in place. Because you're not really going to tug on the eyelashes once they're in. So it just needs to pass the wiggle test. So I think Elmer's will be plenty strong enough to pass the wiggle test. Just have to get the eyelash into that groove to begin with. Oh my god, no! Oh, this is just not cooperating. The first 3 went in so nice. Oh, I love my serger. I have a really expensive fancy serger. It was my last big investment when I got one of my SSI back pay checks that I have to, you have to spend those within X amount of months. I was like, I'm going to spend this all in 1 month. And I went to I had a local quilting shop that one of their locations was closing and they had a bunch of their machines on sale. And I got one of the baby lock sergers with the air threading for, what did I pay? I want to say like $1,200. I think I paid for it. About $1,200, and it was worth every penny. All right, I looked over and noticed that the other eyelash is now coming out, so I'm gonna pull this one out and get as much of this adhesive off as I can, so I can add Elmer's onto this side. This is unfortunately one of the risks of using the cheaper false eyelashes. Um, is the adhesive is not, it's not even between a single pair of eyelashes, let alone between every single pair in the box. So you end up kind of playing around with it quite a bit. All right, so since my Elmer's dripped, I'm just gonna kind of dab along where it dripped and get a little bit of Elmer's in there. Oh yeah, it's a great serger. I had the Brother 1034D before this, and I mean that's like everybody's beginner model serger because it's constantly, well, I should say it was constantly on sale on Amazon. I think I paid about $180 for it. Probably, oh my gosh, it has to be almost 10 years ago now. Not quite 10 years, but somewhere close to that. And that was a great little machine, don't get me wrong, but threading it, it was very, very touchy. You had to do it absolutely perfectly right every time or your threads would break. So I fought with that machine pretty much the entire time I owned it. And the baby lock that I bought that model specifically because it came with the air threading. And if you don't know what air threading is a magical thing. Let me describe air threading. So there's little or not machines, there's little tubes on the front of the machine that you line them up and they'll click into place and lock into place. And then you put your thread next to a hole, and when you push a little lever, it shoots air through the hole and through those tubes, and it sucks the thread through the tubes and automatically threads the machine for you. It's fantastic. And if you can afford it, oh my god, I absolutely recommend it. I kind of wish I could have afforded to start with a baby lock machine because it's just so much easier to use that I probably would have played around with my serger a lot more and like made more of an effort to learn what all a serger can even do beyond just serging. Um, Unfortunately, I haven't really done any of that yet. I still haven't. And I do feel kind of bad about that because I have this really fancy, nice serger, and I still don't really know all of what a serger does beyond just finishing edges. Um, but oh my god, it's a wonderful machine. It's the most expensive piece of equipment I own, and it's worth every penny. I really just want to get this last eyelash in here. I'm fighting with it so much. I probably shouldn't have pulled it out because it was really only coming out at the corner, and I could have just nudged it in, but I know I would have just been fighting with that corner of the eyelash all the time if I didn't fix it. Oh, it's almost in place. Did I get it? Wiggle test. Wiggle test. All right, okay. Whew, that was a bit of a chore to get that last one in. um, okay. I actually just got my girls new t-shirts from Dear Girl Face. If there's time on the stream, I don't think there will be, just because I'm realizing how much time putting the eyelashes in has already taken. That said, I am going to go until these are done. Like, I'm going to keep streaming until they're done. Like, it may end up being a 3-hour stream. Just FYI. But I'm going to go until they're done. But, depending on what time it is when they're done, I may redress them in their new Dear Girl Face shirts after I get them all reassembled. I may not. We'll see. But yeah, I got the Creepy Doll Society t-shirt for them. And then I got one of those, and I got one that was a purple t-shirt that says Positively Batty. So they can, I like to dress them kind of matching, but not really. So I figured that was kind of a nice way to do that. The black with the purple, and then purple with black. So like this is what they're wearing now, and these are outfits from my friend Mags. So this is what I mean by alike but not really, is that they're both wearing these sweaters with the similar print on them. But it's not an exact identical outfit because they do each have their own style. You know, they're not the same person. They're twins, but they're not the same person. So, I like to let them have their own style. Okay. Alright, I got the eyelashes in place. I'm going to touch up where I nicked that black. I'm going to paint over the last bit of this adhesive residue on these so I can make them into bottom lashes. And then I'm going to do the faces. So, let me get one of my yuckier brushes to do this so that it doesn't get damaged by adhesive. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. Oh, I really, really wanted eye chips. I wanted to get eye chips because she's got right now mint green and lavender purple with bats in them. And I really wanted to get the eye chips too, but it was too expensive. Like, I truly couldn't even really afford the shirts right now. But I wanted them, and I was afraid they were going to sell out because I already didn't buy them once, and they did sell out, and she brought them back in different colors. So, yeah, that's how I justified buying the shirts. But truly, I can't really afford to have spent that money right now. Because I made one total online sale since December of last year. Like, that's it. I haven't sold anything else. I haven't been able to start doing shows yet, so I haven't been able to sell in person. And I was so stressed over this new stupid tax law stuff that, like, I didn't really make any effort to sell while I was recovering from COVID, so I haven't sold anything. So I don't really have spending money at the moment. But I just wanted them so much. Alright, so I just painted over the remnants of adhesive that were on what is now the wrong side of those lashes. That's gonna make them not sticky so that I can glue them onto the bottoms of the eyelids as bottom lashes. I'm gonna fix this. I'm not gonna bother to seal the areas that were nicked and fixed because they're such small areas that the chances I'm going to nick the paint off of that exact same area a second time are pretty slim. And I'm also just doing, I don't know if I can even get it to show up on camera, but you know that little bitty line of the fleshy color right above the eyelashes? I'm also trying to coat that pretty well. Trying to get that as well as I can without painting onto the eyeballs. A little bit of Elmer's glue on here. And I also, obviously, I painted the bottoms of the mechs just in case any of that shows. Um, that's just another personal preference of mine. It's not something that has to be done. Kind of like the eyelashes. I just think it looks better. It gives it kind of a bottom lash line if it shows through. Let me actually, before this glue sets, just make sure I'm actually happy with where these lashes ended up. Okay. Yeah, see? Oh, so nice. So pretty. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not gonna mess with them anymore. I'm gonna let that black dry. Oh, I also want to make sure that my lines are lining up. Yeah, see, I did paint a little bit over on the lashes, so what I will do to correct that, I have a pencil around here somewhere. There we go. Is just take my pencil and just connect. All right. I'm going to carefully pop this back out. Oh, thanks. Okay. So, I just made a little bitty line where the paint ended up, and I'm going to kind of blend that back into my sketched lines so that when I paint over the sketched lines, it'll match back up with the eyelids. And I don't know if I already did that for Abby. I know. Yeah, honestly, it may be on my end because it's very windy here today. We have a lot of gusts. Like, there's no wind in between the wind gusts. We just have random wind gusts that are really strong. I was a bit worried about that, but honestly, if I didn't stream every time we had a windy day, I wouldn't have streamed at all yet this year. So I figured it was probably worth it. My recording should still be okay. So anything that's missed should be caught on the recording. So you'll be able to catch that when I put it up on YouTube. All right. So the same thing, just added to the sketched lines and then blend those back into the original lines. Okay, ready to paint. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to set that brush back in the mug. Which one am I going to start with? Start with this one, which is technically a spotter brush, but I think this is probably the smallest brush I have. So, oh my god, it's been windy like every day this year. It's ridiculous. We've never had so many windy days. Oh, I haven't actually stirred this, I just realized. So my paint is a little bit thickened on the bottom. Just because it's acrylic, and if acrylic sits for a while, it kind of settles. Okay, maybe it did a little bit more than settle. let me get rid of that. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we're supposed to have storms every day this week. And I'm kind of mad because we didn't have a storm yesterday. I've been trying to get my friends together for a bonfire yesterday would have been the absolute perfect day to do a bonfire, except for the fact that my backyard was a swamp because it's been thunderstorming on and off. So you can't really have people sitting out in lawn chairs when the yard is basically just mud. So, yeah, I think I'm going to have to wait probably until next month to do any bonfires. Okay. Oh. I'm just trying so hard not to wobble on this. I think I even made a joke when I was sketching these out that I clearly love to torture myself by doing not one but two eyeliner looks with these thin little lines when I know that my hands shake. Okay, there's one line down. Oh boy. Yeah, this is just the apple bear I'm having a stroke right now, guys. It's just the apple barrel matte acrylic from Walmart. But honestly, I kind of feel like the apple barrel black is the darkest, mattest black of any acrylic that I have found anywhere. So it is by far my favorite. Um, and I use it for pretty much everything. The problem is that I keep buying the big 8-ounce jars, and it doesn't, I mean, it's acrylic paint. It only lasts so long. Like, acrylic paint does essentially have an expiration date from the moment it's opened, and no matter how much I use it, I never use it enough to use it before it starts getting clumpy like that, so I always end up throwing at least a little bit away, um, because it gets clumped up. But it's so cheap that, like, I know that's bad, but it's so cheap that I just don't even really feel bad about throwing it away when it gets clumpy. I just don't understand how it's so cheap and it's the best black that I think I've ever used. So it's really nice. All right, I know I put down, here we go. I was going to say, I know I put down a tissue to dab after I wipe with water. I just wasn't happy with how thick that line was getting already, so let's see if I can even get it. There we go. Okay. I probably should have searched harder for my actual liner brush because it would have worked better, but that's okay. This one, actually, the problem isn't that it's the wrong brush, it's that it has one little, there we go. It had one little stray hair that was longer than all the others. So I think that'll fix the problem. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I just love it though. Like it's the deepest black. It's so nice. Yes, it's dense too. You're right. Yeah. It's so good. The rest of their colors I can take or leave, but their black, the apple barrel black is honestly just the best. I've said it for years. I've never found anything that beats apple barrel for a good solid black. It's legit a one coat black. It is the only one coat black I have ever found. I've heard really good things about the Stuart Semple blacks, but they're so expensive. And the apple barrel is like $5 for that huge 8-ounce jar that I can't justify it because I already love the apple barrel one so much. Okay, that worked. That was a really good line. I might not get another line that neat until I'm done. But I mean, this is like, look at how dark and matte this is. This is just one, it's one coat. I'm not even going to put a second coat on because I mean, it looks great. There's no need. Exactly, yeah. I don't feel like I need to find another black because I've already got one. And it's great, and it's cheap, and it's readily available. Like, I've straight up offered to send apple barrel black paint to people overseas who can't get it just because I think it's that good. Um, I genuinely think that it's probably the best black on the market. Just restarting my music really quick. Yeah, exactly. You spend the money on finishings and you don't need to buy the expensive paints. Julie, you do. It's fantastic. Honestly, like, I cannot hype this stuff enough. Literally, it is the best black I've ever used. I don't know that I've ever found any one coat of any other color either, but especially like a one coat black is such a hard thing to find. And this truly is a one coat black. Like, you can add a second color if you really want to get extra depth on it. But there's absolutely no need to. Like, there's only one coat on these lips. Like, there's no, it's even, it's perfect. One coat. Not sponsored, but Apple Barrel, you want to send me some paint? I'm down. Just gotta reshape my brush really quick with some water so I can get the point just right. All right. There's another point down. I keep forgetting that I have this turned up. I'm just going to turn it down farther because I'm totally off camera as I'm doing half of this. I'm so afraid of smearing this as I'm getting into the smaller lines. I do like folk art too. Yeah. I used a lot of folk art paints, especially when I was doing fabric painting. For some colors, I would use Tulip Soft, and that was, oh shit, that was probably the best that I could get for some colors, but generally folk art was my go-to for fabric paint. Totally smeared that line. All right, let's dry her off. And try that again. I don't know that I've ever tried any of their glow-in-the-dark paints, though. I kind of want to because I really want to try and do a few more fantasy type dolls. Like, as I've been working on my little elf creature, I'm I'm really starting to enjoy doing more of a fantasy theme. Yeah, yeah, it's a plaid brand. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to be steady. I'm doing my best. The tiny brushes really do help though. I just restocked my brushes at Michael's probably a couple of months ago. This is actually the first time I've used this particular brush. So it's brand new, and that is a big help. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this eye, let it dry, work on one of Effie's eyes, and let that dry, and then come back to the other one. And then I don't have to worry about smearing it in between doing the two eyes. Just smoothing this line a little bit. Oh my gosh, this is so hard though. I don't know how those kids on TikTok they do this kind of makeup every day to make their videos. I will forever be envious of their makeup skills. All right, now the connecting lines. Here we go. Oh, that one could probably be a little bit thicker. I'm gonna thicken them with a different brush. I just want to get them on here with this one. Oh, jeez. Just trying to figure out where to put my hand to get a steady hold on this face while I paint is just so awkward. Yeah, I'm definitely going to let this one dry before I do the next eye because I'm really manhandling this faceplate to be able to hold it steady enough. I'm not going to be able to do that with a bunch of wet paint on it. Okay. All right. I'll give this brush a little break so I can thicken those lines up really quick. Just roll it to reshape it. Deco work. Okay. Yeah, I haven't really gotten to use a whole lot of glow because it just doesn't, it's not necessarily something that you use a lot in specifically painting faces. But I think with more fantasy type creatures, I could definitely integrate glow paint in some really fun ways. I'm just adding sort of a lower lash line. I just have a really good grip on this faceplate. Also, I won't lie, my secret weapon is I have a little bit of a drink before I paint. I have a really, really minor essential tremor in my hands, and the neurologist who diagnosed me sort of unofficially advised me that having a small drink of alcohol before anything that requires really steady hands can be helpful with that. And I have found that that is honestly like the best thing to get my hands to stay really steady. So, yeah, just adding a little bit around the edge there to kind of bring it all together. Now I'm going to thicken the lines that I think were not quite thick enough. So like this one here, how it's got a thin spot in the middle. Just going to take that and smooth it out. And then do these inner ones, which I think both came out a little bit thin. Trying to also make sure I stay on camera. Well, that was probably a little bit too thick. That's okay. I would almost rather have them be too thick than too thin, because it is such a graphic look that you can kind of work with it with them being thicker lines. All right, so I'm going to do these two long ones, which are making me a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. because the longer a line is, the easier it is to the easier it is to get wobbly in the middle. Okay. All right. I feel like all of the lines are sort of evenly thick now. So I am going to let this dry off to the side while I do one of her eyes. Um, oh, glow powder. That's an interesting idea. So both of these brushes are size 20. These are the smallest size brushes they offer. I have a bunch of size 20 brushes that I use for doll faces. This one is a 30 spotter. I also use this one fairly often for doing eyebrow hairs and stuff. I know it's not a liner brush, so it's not necessarily meant for that, but when I do like the really big dolls, it does get a thin enough line, but with enough fullness, if that makes sense, for it to look like eyebrow hair. It's also decent for doing freckles. And then I have a 20 round, which I like to use just for general miniature painting. So I have a lot of these with the shorter handles. These are honestly my favorite brushes. These are the Artist Loft Roma brushes from Michaels. Again, not sponsored, but if you want to send me some free shit, Michaels, I'm down. Yeah, these are my absolute favorite brushes for doing any kind of small painting. Because they have the small handle, so I can get really up close, and I feel like the brush is still a really nice even weight. Because obviously the weight of the brush is like a big thing when you're working on something really small too. When it's a longer handle like this is a bad example because this is a super lightweight brush, but you don't want something that's got a long handle because it's really, I mean, the weight of it just starts to add up over time. You want to be able to be really close when you do mini stuff, so I like the short handle brushes for that. And the 20 size just all across the board tends to work really well for miniatures. Also, these are sort of a rubberized kind of handle, so I don't feel like they slip out of my hands like other brushes do. I want to get just the smallest amount of paint because these are really thin lines over here. over eye lines. What do you call that? The cut crease? Something like that? I don't know, man. I don't know makeup terms. I don't know beauty makeup. I know special effects makeup. I'm learning a lot as I'm doing more and more doll faces. So again, I'm going to thicken these with my other round brush later. But right now I'm just using this spotter. I do have a 20 liner somewhere. I just don't know where it is. My whole little area here is kind of a disaster right now. I was about to clean it recently a couple of weeks ago, and then we put another offer on a house, and I decided I wanted to wait and see if we got the house, because if we got it, I wasn't going to bother to clean. I was just going to pack everything. And then, of course, we didn't get the house, and I got depressed because we didn't get another house. So it's just kind of been getting progressively messier and messier. Oh yeah, also I have definitely hit my hand on the end of the longer handles. Yeah. Oh, bye, Julie. Yeah, the house hunting is just really, it's starting to take a toll. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting really hard to keep looking. We've been looking for, at this point, 12 months straight. We started looking April of last year. It's April of 2022. We're still looking. We actually found a house really early on that we both, I think it was probably, well, I don't want to say really early on. I guess it was probably about 6 months into the search that we both really fell in love with. And we really, really wanted this house. And we put an offer in and we didn't get it. And at the time, it sold for about 10,000 over what we thought we could afford. And then my mom found out she was getting a bonus at work, like an actual extended bonus, not just like a one-time bonus, and that it was a big enough raise that it would raise our housing budget by $10,000. So that house we lost, that we were like, oh, okay, we couldn't have afforded it anyway. After her raise, we absolutely could have afforded that house. And it was just the biggest disappointment. And every house since then has been a massive, just like every house we go into, even the ones we really like, it's just not as good as that first one for us. So every disappointment just keeps building up, and we're like, this really just sucks. I want that first house. Why is that first house not still available? Like, at this point, I wish we could just go to whoever bought that first house and be like, look, can we just give you like an extra $10,000 and you guys find another house and we take yours? Like, we've put offers in on probably half a dozen houses at this point, and we haven't gotten any of them. So it's just piling on. Um, and you have to get the pre-approval. At this point, you pretty much have to have a pre-approval for them to even really look at your offer. And you have to re-extend the pre-approval every 3 months. And unfortunately, every time you do that, it dings your credit. So my mom went from having like stellar, super impressive credit to like, okay, this is pretty good credit because of all the dings from having that pre-approval extended over and over and over again. So it's at the point where, like, if we don't find anything by the time this pre-approval expires this time, like, that's just it. We're just gonna have to stop looking for a while. And if it were just an issue of like, man, we really want to move, that would be a different story. But like, we really need to move because our current house is not accessible to two people with increasing mobility issues. Um, and unfortunately, the houses that are, because of, because the housing prices just keep going up and up and up, we're already being priced out of houses that we turned down 6 months ago for not being good enough. Like, houses that were at the low end of our expected budget are now too expensive for us. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't know why it does that. I just know that her credit has taken a hit every single time that pre-approval has been renewed. I don't know if they're just doing it wrong somehow, but like, she can't keep taking that hit. She works really hard to have perfect credit, and I do not have perfect credit. I have a lot of debt. I am poor. Um, so yeah, we can't go with my credit. So if it dings her credit any further, basically, like, we can't keep doing this. She also had an identity theft issue like immediately before this, before we started looking. I want to say it was in like February or March of last year, and we started looking for houses and first got the pre-approval thing in April of last year, like early April. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I agree. It absolutely should not affect your credit. But, with the interest rates going up and her credit rate going down because of all the pre-approval renewals, like we can't keep doing it. It's getting too expensive to even look at houses at this point. And like the houses that are still in our budget are the fixer-upper houses. And we're not handy people, obviously, because the whole reason we're moving is because we both have mobility issues. So like we can't really do a fixer-upper house, because we can't fix fix her up. So yeah, that's kind of the big issue right now, is that unless the prices get back to normal, we might just be out of luck for a while. We might have to wait until the market comes back down. But then, if we do that, the problem with that is that it's going to be harder for us to sell our current house. Because we're not selling until we move, obviously, because we need a house to live in. So that presents the extra challenge of, if we wait until the market goes back down, then it's, yeah, exactly. It costs more money too because you have to fix it up. And like the houses that are the fixer-uppers that used to be at the bottom of our budget, like, oh, we could afford this and then build a half a house onto this with what's left over in our budget. Those houses are now, at this point, starting to hit the top of our budget limit. So, like, we'd end up with a fixer-upper house and no money left over to fix anything. We actually had to turn one down very recently that we thought was going to be perfect, specifically because as we were walking out, the realtor looks at the roof and goes, oh, that roof's going to need to be redone in the next 5 to 10 years. And we just kind of both went, oh my God. Because as we were walking out, we were already planning on putting up a wall in the basement to create a fourth bedroom and replacing every single window in the house. And at that point, that was going to put that house, which was not our dream house, but would work, at the top of our budget. So having to also redo a roof in the next 5 to 10 years, and because the roof was actually buckling and not like bowing, he said that we would probably end up having to redo the decking under the roof as well. So that's like a full new roof, not just a reshingling. So we couldn't afford it. It went from being okay, but at the top of our budget, to being, well, we can't afford this house now. And it did end up selling at the asking price, even with everything that was wrong with it. So, like, that's just what the market is right now. Okay, all right. Skinny line's done. They're a little bit wobbly. They definitely could be better, but it's good enough. I'm going to let those dry, and I'm going to do the next one of Abby's. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's a weird market right now. It's been really weird lately. Sorry, I just seen a slightly uneven spot here. This is the OCD taking over, and I'm probably going to wreck it and hate myself, but... Okay, alright, good enough. Not going to touch that anymore. Okay. Alright. Get a good steady grip. Here we go. I used to really envy the doll artists on YouTube who would paint like the little eyelashes and stuff. I would be like, man, I wish I could do that. My hands would never be that steady. But since I started buying nicer brushes, I actually can do it. So clearly the brushes are like... clearly the brushes are actually a factor in how nice something looks when you're painting it. Which, you know, fair play. These aren't expensive brushes, and they make such a difference that I wonder if I did buy, like, really expensive brushes, if it actually would improve even more. Yeah. I do that a lot. I legitimately, like, I do have OCD. It's not like a, haha, I'm so quirky, I have OCD. It's, like, a legitimate issue for me. Like, oh, shit. I will sometimes go back to a project like 6 months later and start fucking with it because I'm absolutely convinced that something is wrong and I can fix it. And I end up ruining something that's been perfectly good for like 6 months. And I was looking at it for 6 months going, yeah, this is great. And then one day I look at it and that little nagging thought gets into my head and I can't get it out. And I go and I mess it up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The eyelashes, I always thought they looked so difficult, but like, it's not that much skinnier of a line than what I'm doing right here. So I think I probably could do it. I just probably have to get some practice. Shut up, phone! Oh my god, it's 5:30. Holy shit. I gotta feed my bunny in a minute. She's gonna be hungry. This is bunny dinner time, so I kind of expected I would have to break to feed the rabbit because I knew this was going to take a while. The freckles and the piercings I think are honestly going to be so quick compared to this painting. But because this is so intricate, it's going to take extra time. Just checking the length on the wings. I think this one can be a little bit longer. Yes, it's diabolical, OCD. It is diabolical. Okay. Trying to look at it head on and make sure that they look even because from the side, obviously, you can only see one of these upper points at a time anyway. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to touch it anymore. Oh, you know what? Let me feed my rabbit before I start the next one. I gotta go wake her up from nap time. So, back momentarily. Cinnabon, coming to wake you up. Back to painting. No worries. I will be here painting. Oh, there's a red-winged blackbird on my feeder. They're so pretty. Those are one of my favorites. Two of my other favorite birds, the grackles, were having a bit of a standoff in my yard earlier. I've never seen them be aggressive towards each other before, but I guess one got a little bit too close to the other while they were eating. He was like puffing up his feathers and putting his wings up and squawking. Nothing like what the obnoxious starlings like to do when they fight with each other, though. Ugh. Those stupid, beautiful jerk birds. I have a love-hate relationship with the starlings. They're very pretty, but oh, they're assholes. They're little piggies. Greedy little piggy birds. Starlings will empty an entire feeder in like 5 minutes flat if you don't chase them off. They're unbelievably greedy and they're invasive. Like they're not even native to North America. Some asshole just brought a bunch of them over on a boat because he was like, hey, these things look pretty when they fly together. And they're aggressive, so they just started like outbreeding local species and they've become an actual pest. Starlings are a perfect example of why you should never ever introduce new species into a native ecosystem because you just never know how that's going to end up playing out. Like, they're legitimate pests to farmers, and we absolutely cannot get rid of them. If only they weren't so pretty. Stupid, beautiful jerks. I just brushed up against the side of my camera, thankfully not the lens. There's already a little speck on this lens. I haven't been able to find it for a while, and I'm trying not to intentionally look for it. Just for a period of about 6 months, I was, this is that OCD again. I was absolutely hyper aware of this stupid little speck in my camera lens. And it's not on the lens, it is in the lens because I cleaned the lens repeatedly with actual lens cleaning products. And it never went away. I did eventually get distracted enough that I forgot where it was, and if I don't look for it, I can't see it. So now I try to intentionally make myself not look for it. Because otherwise I'm going to find it again and I'm going to fixate on it. I'm going to pull this over to the light really quick. There we go. Okay. It's getting a little bit darker, so let me try turning my light up a little bit. I have to be careful not to turn it up too bright because this light, unfortunately, does cause a fair bit of glare if I put it on too bright. But it is starting to get a little bit darker outside, which unfortunately makes it hard for me to see what I'm doing. Oh, shit, that was not a good line. Alright, try this again. I just need to get the outside of these lines down over here so I can make sure that I'm totally covering my sketch and not leaving any of the sketched bits out. Alright, now I can get back over here. Oh, maybe not. Let me... just straighten this line while I have my light. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to do the connecting lines. I know I did that in a different order than the first time. I feel like this is going to be easier. Oops. Maybe I was mistaken. Alright, that'll be fixed once I thicken it. try turning my light a little that way. There. Oh my gosh, that's better. Okay, now my area is still lit up, but it's not. There's a lot less glare, I feel like. The glare is more on my face cam, which is fine. You don't need to see my face right now anyway. I still have like contact dermatitis around the side of my face because I touched some kind of an allergen and then I like went like that and it got all over the side of my face. I had like a little crescent moon of contact dermatitis. So like I haven't even been able to put conditioner in my hair because obviously my hair touches my face, and when you have contact dermatitis, your skin is more sensitized to everything. And you can actually develop contact dermatitis in different places. So like I haven't been able to put conditioner in my hair because I was worried that just having conditioner residue on the ends of my hair might set it off higher up on my face. I haven't been able to put any kind of scented lotions. Like I usually use scented lotions like all the way up to my neck, everywhere but my face basically, because I just like to smell good. Can't do that. Can't put any makeup on. I was really starting to enjoy putting on makeup for streams, and then I gave myself an allergic reaction all over my face, and that had to stop temporarily. 2022 has not been a good year, guys. Okay, so now I'm just going to thicken the connecting lines and add that line, the eyeliner, around the inside. All right. I think I may do the little eyeliner line first. Just because I feel like it'll help it look more balanced to me when I look at it head on. If I have this on here too. Okay. So yeah, just gonna even out those connecting lines now. And then this face will be just about done. I wasn't going to seal them before I did the freckles, but honestly, just because I have been so nitpicky about this and because it's taking me so long, I think I am going to seal the eyeliner before I do the freckles. Um, at least for Abby, just because I don't want to risk messing this up. This definitely has not been easy, and I don't want to do it again. Right. Getting there. About halfway through this eye. Oh. Maybe I should say cheek, because this is really more on her cheeks than her eyelids. Right. Okay. I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, good enough that I am going to not allow myself to touch it. I'm going to throw my respirator on. I'm going to go spray this with MSC. And then I will come back. I'm going to finish Effie's eyeliner. And then I'm going to do their freckles. Give them one more coat of MSC. And then put them together. I know, put it down and walk away. I'm going to go spray it with MSC so I can't mess it up. Let me throw my respirator on really quick. I even wore my smaller glasses today so they would fit better. All right. Now I just need... Well, I hear my earrings like slapping against the sides. There we go. I need my little clippy. And that's how I hold them when I spray them. So I'll be right back. All right. All right. There. Now I cannot mess with it. Okay. So let me let the MSC dry. Although it's already pretty dry, I didn't do like a super thick coat. Because I'm not done, obviously. I still gotta put her freckles on. Good enough. I gotta start my music again. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to finish up hers. I feel like one of these inner corners is like the tiniest little bit shorter than the other. Okay. It's even enough. I'm not going to touch that anymore. Thanks. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how well that one came out. Um, I feel like the lines on this one are a little more wobbly, but they're not bad. Um, I think it's good enough that like for doll photography, it's not going to be super noticeable. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to paint the wings. I'm going to do the little corners with my itty bitty brush and then get the thicker brush to fill them in. There. All right, I got a nice sharp point on that. It's definitely a challenge. But I think it's worth it in the end. I definitely think it also helps to have a really good sketch and decent brushes. I'm one of those people that doesn't really like to buy new things often. So, like, I use razors and paintbrushes and everything a lot longer than you should. And then I get a new one and I'm like, oh my god, why didn't I change this earlier? And like sewing needles on my machine, oh my god, I'm the worst. I'm absolutely the worst. Part of it is just that I'm poor and stuff costs money, and like I've developed this habit of stretching every single thing that I have until it literally falls apart. Like even clothes. I mean, granted, I did grow up in the grunge era, so like wearing clothes that until they fall apart is like it's been ingrained in me since childhood. And granted, again, I was also poor as a child, but like these habits they're old habits, you know, they're not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. I just need to get in the habit of replacing at the very least my paintbrushes and like my sewing machine needles more frequently. And like serger blades are kind of expensive, but you really should be changing those. I only changed the blades on my old serger one time because they snapped because I accidentally left a pin in something and didn't see it, and the serger blade snapped down on the pin and flew off. But yeah, I gotta just get used to changing things because these are brand new brushes and they really are just painting so much nicer. And it's kind of making me wonder if I spent more than $4 on each brush, if it would be even better. Because I thought a $4 paintbrush was like an expensive, extravagant purchase. But if it really does make this much difference, like maybe I should spend a little bit more. Well, I'm glad I'm inspiring you. Please share when you do. I'm sure they'll be good. And if not, that's okay. Because I've only been doing the Blythe customs for like a couple of years now. Well, no, only about a year, because for the first year I got into it, I didn't really do any customs. So yeah, I've been doing this probably about a year and a half at the most. Um, but I have been doing other art dolls and other custom dolls for like 10 years. So this is not, it's not really a new thing for me. A lot of the skills carried over. So like my first few custom dolls were not very good. I will readily admit that, you know. I am very comfortable saying that my first attempts were not very good. But it's just practice. You just keep doing it and they get better and better. All right, I think that's pretty even there. Oh yeah, definitely the serger knife snapping was a wake-up call that I definitely was leaving things too long. Because going over one pin shouldn't have snapped it. It was just already brittle from being old. So I've been more careful with things in general and just not trying not to overuse things. And I also learned that like razors, if you overuse them, you get into a habit of using pressure against your skin that you shouldn't be using. And that's why when you do eventually switch to a new razor, that you often end up nicking yourself so frequently. And ever since I found that out, I started switching my razors more frequently, and I don't cut myself anymore when I switch to a new razor. So, like, I am gradually learning my lesson that using things until they fall apart can actually be hazardous to your health. Okay. I see no uneven parts in front of my light here. Um, well, no major uneven parts. I do want to add a little bit more to this side because I feel like this side, for some reason, didn't get full coverage. I think my brush may have been a bit wetter when I did this side. This side looks good though. Let me get all of the inner edges. Okay. All right. So set that down. Clean my brushes because I'm done with the brushes. I'm going to actually try a new technique for adding the freckles. Let me just quickly put the covers back on my brushes. I don't remember which one goes on which brush. There we go. Here we go. There it is. I also never throw out the plastic brush covers. That is also a helpful thing that I have learned for making things last effectively. It just keeps the bristles from getting, from getting too jostled around when they're in the cup. It's nice and dry. Okay, I think that's dry enough. So the new technique I kind of want to try out is with watercolor pencils rather than with paint. And I feel like this could work really well. All right, here are my 3 browns. I'm going to use at least 2 colors. Kind of see what my browns look like here. This one's probably a little too red, so not that one. Although that one's also awfully red, so get the big case. Oh no. Let's see if I can find a couple of browns that would be good freckle colors. Although maybe like a couple of these pinkish tans could work too. Probably need to get a second little pencil case. Let's see. Yeah, that one could work. This color right here. I think this is dark brown and maybe this one. Let me see if this other tan next to it is a little less pinky. Yeah, that's a little more of an earthy than a pinky. But one of the keys to getting realistic looking freckles is using more than one color, so I don't want to limit myself to one color. I kind of wish I could show the area directly around me that isn't on camera, because it, like, at the beginning and end of a stream, it just it gets progressively so much messier. It's so bad. I just like gather supplies around me and then they spread out as I'm done using them. But it has been forcing me to actually put things away when I'm done with them more than I ever have in the past. So just want to see if I can find a third color that'll work really well. Okay, I think I'm happy with the 2 that I have, so I'm going to do those. Put my other pencils away. This is going to be very different for me because I've never tried to use watercolor pencils to do freckles before. I usually actually have 2 different kinds of acrylic paint. One is a custom blended color that I made that I have found looks fairly natural on most skin tones. And then the second one that I'll use, I'm trying to think, I think it's called like Warm Cinnamon, and it's just a plain old acrylic paint, and I water those both down, and that's what I use. And I also use a couple of alcohol markers sometimes, but I saw this technique on a YouTube doll artist channel and it ended up looking really good, so I want to try it. So you just get a paper towel and you get it damp, not wet. You just want to get the end of your pencil like a little bit damp. And then when you add your freckles, that should help it to kind of, oh, it does kind of work. It spreads a little bit just because the pencil is damp. So you don't just get a dot. Because if you look really closely at freckles, like, usually there's like one dark spot, but it's also like almost like leopard spots, you know, where it's not a solid speck. I don't know. I'm trying to find the right words and they're not coming to me. And then you just do what I always do, which is just kind of dab with your finger. Yeah, see, I feel like that's, well, it's kind of hard now that my light is fading. Let me see if I can get my light turn back this way a little bit. Exactly, yeah. They have uneven edges that are kind of at a gradient. So it is kind of working. I think I almost want to get my pencil more wet than it is for it to work better. So I'm wondering if instead of dotting it against a damp towel, if I there's a little water droplet here, if I just grab that little droplet and then dab it so that it's a little bit wetter. Oh, I got a bunny hair stuck. If that'll possibly work even better. Yeah. Oh, I like this. This is going well. And then you just dab it to make sure that there's not any any actual clumps from the pencil, because sometimes watercolor pencils get a little clumpy, especially these cheap ones. These are also Michael's brand. Michael's not sponsored. You want to send me some free stuff? I'm game. Oop. That one came out a little bit too streaky. My pencil just kind of glided. But that's okay, because the next step, oh, that's not wet anymore. The next step is actually to semi-erase them by dabbing an eraser over top. I have no idea what just made a weird noise in my house. I think it was the Facebook portal. All right, so that's really all I wanted to do, is just some on the nose. I did. So the teeth are actually epoxy clay that I added in and then sculpted and painted. I know some people just carve them out of the plastic. I don't know how to do that. So that's what I did. All right, so then you just kind of dab an eraser over top and just kind of roll it so that you're not erasing, you're just sort of lightening the color. And that's supposed to help it look like it's not on the top layer of the skin by just picking up the slightest bit of the pigment. All right, so I'm going to add the other color and see if I like it. And if not, I can wipe them off and do my normal method. But I am kind of liking how this looks as it's wet, so we'll dab. I'm trying to make it look not, intentional. It's just kind of hard because, especially on this face, it's such a small area. But her cheeks are totally covered, so I don't want to put them down onto the cheeks. So I feel like this is pretty decent. Maybe one more here. Oh, it's not wet anymore. And then dab with the eraser again. Even give a little extra erase over top just to lighten them even a little bit more. Okay. I do want to add just one more layer of depth. So I'm going to get the really light alcohol marker. Make sure it's not dried up because it's been sitting there a while. All right, so use this a lot when I do them on the bigger dolls. And it just kind of, see, it's almost invisible. And then you just kind of dab the excess off. So the marker is nearly invisible, but it adds like a little bit of extra depth by giving those freckles that are super light mixed in with whatever other colors you've used. So, all right, that's going to be it for her. Oops, pardon me, Mothman. I got my little Mothman guy off to the side. He's mostly out of the way, but I just booped his little antenna with my marker. Their hair is purple and green. So this is, well, let me turn this up a little bit. There we go. This is Abby's with the V-bangs. And then hers, Effie's, is the purple. And I thought about cutting her bangs shorter so they would show off more of the eye makeup and eyebrows, but I couldn't bring myself to do it until it was on her face because I can't imagine what that's going to look like, so I need to be able to actually like look at it. Let me just get another little handy water droplet up on the side that I can dip into. There we go. So hers are going to go over the nose, but also onto the cheeks. Thanks. Yeah, they're kind of my signature colors. Pretty much all of my promotional materials for my business have been lavender and mint. Since I started back in like 2012, I think. No, you know what? It might have been 2010, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because I started while I was still at the community college. Ugh, I can't get a drop to just sit on the edge like I want it to. Let me grab one of my brushes and see if I can do it that way. I like just having a droplet on the side of the cup to tap into, because it doesn't like fully saturate the end of the pencil. Like, I don't want a wet pencil, I want a damp pencil. Because a wet watercolor pencil, oh god, it's it's raining sideways out in my yard right now. Yeah, so a wet watercolor pencil behaves very, very differently. I just want a damp one, so it's almost like a regular colored pencil, but with a little bit of spread. Ooh, that was a really, oh, it's a perfect freckle right there. Oh my god, it won't focus, but that's exactly what I'm trying to get. Let me see if I can get it to do that some more. I think I finally have my pencil to just the desired level of dampness that it's getting exactly what I want it to look like. Oh, that was too dark. Spoke too soon. Oh, that's okay, because when I dabbed it, that's another one that looks really good, I think. All right, so maybe having it a little bit wetter isn't a terrible idea. Let me go back and do a few more on Abby when it's a bit wetter. Oop. And dab it until it's light enough. Okay. Nope, too wet. Let me get that. Okay. And the marker ones. Yeah, they're such, oh my gosh, they're just such pretty colors together. I love it. I love purple and green, and like a lot of shades of purple and green when you put them together, it's like too much. It's Jokerish, you know? But I think lavender and mint just look so pretty together. All right, so that's, I feel like that's a freckle pattern I'm pretty happy with. Um, maybe one or two more dark ones. Just do one right there, and maybe one up by the eyebrow would be kind of fun. Now the pencil is just not staying wet. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, one right up by the eyebrow. I like that. Okay. So I'm gonna, got a little clumpy bit I'm just trying to grab. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm not gonna touch it anymore. Whoops. I'm gonna go, nope, I'm gonna put it over there. So I'm not even looking at it. Yes, exactly. Asymmetrical, because freckles are very asymmetrical. And I'm not even worrying about putting them in the same place, because even on identical twins, freckle patterns are not identical. So my girls are not even identical twins. They're mirror image twins. So their freckles would definitely not be identical. But just for fun, I'm also going to give Effie one darker freckle. Oops. I spread that one a little too much. Up by her eyebrow. On the opposite side, because mirror image twins. Mirror image freckle. So let's just put one of the darker freckles. I'm going to let it sit for a minute. Yeah, I mean, I could be really picky, and I definitely could put them in very similar, if not identical places, but again, because even on identical twins, freckles are not exactly identical. I just want to make sure I have generally the same placement, because I do want to kind of make that their like mirror freckle. So there we go. How I've got one up by this eyebrow, and I got one up by her other eyebrow. And that's going to be the one that I will make sure that they both have. Other than that, I don't really care. Freckles are not identical. Exactly. Moles can be, freckles are not, because freckles are specifically caused by sun exposure over time. And no two people ever have exactly the same sun exposure, no matter how identical they are. So, their freckles would not be identical. Not to mention that, you know, Abby just has a lot more of her face covered by that makeup. And I would think that if you were going to go to all the trouble to do all of that graphic eyeliner work on the spider webs, you probably would start with a foundation. And foundations are going to cover most of the freckles. So I'm not concerning myself with putting any on her cheeks. I think I did on my sketch, possibly. I can't remember if I did or not, but I just think that trying to put freckles in between all that spider web is just, it's not going to look good. It's going to be busy. It's going to be too much. So I just would rather not. Because I just put all that work into it, you know? I don't want to distract from it. Whereas Effie's eyeliner is much more simple. Give her a few down lower on the cheeks. Oops. That pencil just wanted to slide. I think I saved it. Trying to go for freckles here, not scars. All right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to add the nearly invisible ones with the marker. This part is actually my favorite part of doing freckling because I can just go crazy with this because the second I dab it, they almost disappear. So I don't have to worry as much about ending up looking too busy if I do too many of them. So I don't know if the camera's even going to focus enough to show. Oh, you can, yeah, see, you can just barely see the ones that I'm adding with this marker. This, I don't know if Prismacolor, do they have the color name on them? Yeah, this is the light walnut Prismacolor marker. And this one I just use for adding depth. It's actually the marker that is recommended, or at least in my illustration class, that was recommended for doing medium skin tones. So it's the one that I use to add the depth freckles, which are not freckles that you can even see when you're really looking for them, but they add that extra layer. That when you get up close and you can see them kind of, it almost looks like they are under the skin because they're so light. So I call them depth freckles because they just add further depth to your freckle patterns without actually adding visible freckles. Especially when you dab most of it off with your finger immediately after. So, okay, that's going to be it for hers. I'm going to pop out to my garage really quick. spray them both with MSC. Then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to put the Imex in. I'm going to assemble them before I put the piercings on, just because I think it'll be easier for me to hold on to them to put these tiny itty bitty little gems, which I don't know if you were here at the beginning when I was showing these, but these are so tiny. And I think it's going to be easier for me to put those onto them if they're fully assembled and I can just like grab them around the neck, you know? So I'm going to finish their faces off with that last coat of sealant, and then come back in and put the piercings on after they're all put together. Yeah, it's a really cool effect. It's actually more noticeable when I do it on dolls with vinyl skin because the alcohol in the markers will pull the ink under the first layer of vinyl, so it really does sink into the skin on vinyl dolls. And I actually use two of them. I use a darker one too, with the vinyl dolls to add really dark depth freckles. But yeah, oh, good timing. Yeah, go start dinner. I'm gonna take about 5 minutes to go out and spray these. I'm gonna put up a little sign in case anybody joins my stream so they don't think they're joining a dead stream. Uh-oh, Mothman fell over. Alright. Put that there. Mothman, you can hang up behind my sign. Put the alien over here. Give people something to look at. Okay, here we go. Alright. Take the scalps off, and then I will go bring their faces in. Go grab those faces. All right. Put a much thicker coat of MSC on this time, so I wanted to give them a minute to fully dry before I start trying to handle them. Looks like they're nice and dry now though, so yeah, should be good to go. Put you down over there. Get the clippies off. Well, this is exciting. So I started actually planning this project for my twins probably like, I don't know, almost 2 years ago when I finally got Abby. Initially I just had Effie, the purple haired girl, and she was going to be my little mascot. Oh my gosh, why is this not fitting? I just lost the screw up my sleeve. Hold on. She was going to be my little mascot, and then I thought it would be fun, since my colors are purple and green, if I had one girl for each color. So I ordered Abby, whose name, by the way, is short for Absinthe, because she's green. She's my green girl. Let me use my screwdriver. One of these different heads and try and just kind of open that up a bit more. I'm going to use the flat head. Because these are brand new faceplates that didn't actually have screws in them. I think they're just they're a little too tight for the screws right now. I just need to open them up a little bit so I can actually get the screws in them. So I'm just wiggling a bit. I have actually run into this issue with using the brand new blank face plates before. Sometimes that front hole is just a little too tight for the screw, and you just kind of have to open it up a little to get the screw to go in there the first time. But since you never really take this screw all the way out, once it's in there, it's in there. So you're good. I think I got it in there. And if I can't, well, oh well. The scalps tend to be pretty snug on these dolls without this screw. Magnetic screwdrivers. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to screw it about halfway in. Get the scalp on. And then I'm going to finish the screw. All of this, if you're familiar with Blythe dolls, you probably already know. But just for anybody who isn't, this is pretty standard. I usually do the screw halfway before I put the scalp on, because once you put it on, you got all of this in your way, and it just makes it a little more difficult to screw it in there really good and tight. Okay, nice and tight. So there we go. I gotta get her back plate. There's the back plate with the little A for Absinthe Abby. I am going to take that off with my eraser though. I didn't remember to take it off of the front plate, and it's halfway underneath the head now, so I'm just not worried about it. Okay, nice and clean on the inside. Now, the next step, just make sure your sides are lined up. Yeah, actually, I have a few Living Dead dolls that have hair that's a very similar color. Oh no, I forgot I had her screw in her scalp. Oops, there it goes. I'll have to get that. So it's kind of funny that that was the first color hair of a Blythe doll that I got, since I already had like 2 or 3 Living Dead dolls that had that same color. Well, not exactly the same, but a very similar color hair. I just realized after I closed her up that I didn't put her iMac in, so I'm gonna rescue Effie's screw down here. There we go. Put it in the little cup with the rest of her screws. Here are Abby's screws. So I gotta put her iMac in first. I can't believe I forgot to put her iMac in. Sorry, Abby. Okay, here we go. I probably should have done this before the scalp. It's a lot easier to do without the scalp. Okay. Yeah, this definitely would have been easier before I put the scalp on. But there we go. Again, because hers was a little bit looser than Effie's for some reason. It just slipped right in. So here we go. We got a face. All right. Gotta... Oh, here we go. It's a nice soft fabric because I don't want to put this face that I just put all this work into on my table while I'm messing around with screws and things. So I'm going to put the little... Oh, I'm getting dropsy now because I'm excited. You're going to put your little T-bar on here. Again, Blythe people know all about this. This is not news for anybody who's familiar with Blythe dolls. Put your little screw in there. Ooh, this is another one that's going to be tight because, again, brand new face plates. Screws are often very tight. Not necessarily a bad thing. All right, now before I put her head together, I do want to check her pull strings and make sure that her eyes will change appropriately. So I thought I boggled her to look up a little bit, but I guess I didn't. But it's okay. I can always do that with my fingers. It's not really worth taking her apart again. just to boggle. Yeah, she looks up enough. As long as she's not looking down, I'm happy. So, all right, iMac is working. So we're gonna put her together. Get her back plate, and I gotta thread her strings through. I always put the iMac one through the little circular hole. I generally can't fit a second string through, so I put that one through the square hole. That also helps me keep track of which string is which. All right, so I'm gonna get her body and pop that in here so that it sits like that between the two plates. Oh, it fell out as I was getting the sides together. Let's try this again. There we go. All snapped up. All right, all snapped up. Let's put these last 3 screws in. The little one goes up here and just holds the scalp in from the back. And this is why if you can't get that front scalp piece in, it's usually okay. At least I find that it's usually okay. As long as one of either the front or the back is screwed in. But just because these girls are kind of my little mascots and they're going to be handled more than my other dolls, I kind of prefer for them to be tighter. Oop. So I want all 4 screws in place, or I should say 5 because the IMEX screw, the one on the T-bar. One more. Oops. I'm not super worried about these 2 bottom ones, only because I actually am planning on giving them new bodies. So I'm going to end up taking the 2 bottom screws out again soon after I finish their new bodies. But let me give her hair a quick brush and then she will get her final reveal. She's looking so cool. I am so happy with how well she came out. There we go. Here she is. Oops. Let me get her strings here so I can pop. Oh, there's the plain ones. I have 2 plain sets in her because I only got 2 sets of eyes for her so far. I really want to get one of those sparkly bat sets for her. Oh, the purple looks so good. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to set her aside so I can put Effie together and then I'm going to do their piercings. Yeah, I love it. All right. Now, let's get your screws, and I'm going to set these little piercing gems over here again, sandwiched in between 2 of those plastic cups because I do not want to lose any of those. All right. Yeah, I usually can snap them together pretty good. I just, I struggle more with getting them apart. All right, I want to get the screw halfway in first. And hers is also a brand new faceplate, so I may or may not need to wiggle it a little bit more open before I can get the screw to go in. Let's see. Okay, hers is going in. Okay. It's pretty tight, but it's working, so. Oh, I just noticed. There is a little E in here. How funny. I wonder if there was an E on Abby's too and I just didn't notice. E for Effie. See, we'd be a good team. I can't get them apart. You can't get them together. All right. Now I'm going to hold her together so I can get, oops, whoopsie. Lost my grip for a second there. So I can get this screw in the rest of the way. Oh, I hate this part. Oh no, I'm doing it again. I want to put the iMac in before the scalp, because then it's easier to stretch the faceplate apart. There we go. Okay, there we go. It's harder to get that screw in place with the iMac in there, but it's easier to get the iMac in without the scalp. So it's just a matter of which struggle do you want to have. This is why I put the face plates down on fabric and not directly on the table, because I have to use a lot of pressure here. All right. Are we in nice and tight? Good enough. I'm going to put in her T-bar. And I'm losing light rapidly, so I don't want to turn her around to the camera. I think I showed this last time, so I really just want to get this in here so I can get the piercings in place before I lose my light. Get out of the way. One more turn. Okay. Should be nice and tight. Check her eyes really quick, make sure they're functioning. This is so awkward when I don't have a back plate on. Because you're supposed to pull straight back, but like, oh geez. Yeah, see, that wasn't on there tight enough. Ah. Let me get in there and see if I can give it another turn or two. Just afraid of stripping this screw. So I'm going really slow. Okay, that's better. Here we go. Let's try this again. Ow. Okay. Her iMac is working, so shake all that hair out of the way. Where's her back plate? E for Effie. So I'm planning on doing some sort of illustration on their back plates. I'm just not really sure. Because their hair is kind of going to be covering it all the time, and they're really, I made these dolls for me more than anyone else. So I'm not really as eager to do that. I may do it later on at some point. I'm just not concerned about it right now. I've got enough that I'm doing with these dolls before I even get to that stage. Like I completely redid their faces. I'm basically completely redoing Abby's hair. They're getting new bodies with tattoos. All kinds of new stuff. So I'm not super concerned about back plates that are going to spend most of their time covered. Okay. Let's make sure everything's lined up. Snap. Snap. Get the screws. Ah! I totally lost my screwdriver. I am having hand issues, so I need to have another finger operated on. I occasionally will just like, it'll just lock and I'll lose all of my grip strength. It's super annoying. Alright, and again, I'm not going to do these bottom ones super duper tight because they are going to have to come off when I change them to their new bodies. So let's just get them in there enough that they're not going to fall out. And nobody's face is going to get snapped open when it shouldn't be. Oh man, this is, I'm loving this. This is so cool. Oh, where'd I put the brush? Oh, here we go. Okay. So. Gonna do quick little reveal here. Here is Effie's new look. I am in love with this. Okay, there's that. I'm going to get my, oh, my good glue is right there. Get my good craft glue ready. Try and clear some of this stuff out of my workspace. Get everything ready to go. And then I'm going to start marking where I'm going to be putting all of these piercings. I'm going to put a little teeny spot with my pencil, just so I know exactly where my glue is going to be going. Let's get all of this out of the way. Oh, here's my finer pencil. That's the one I was looking for. Oh, I also need to do her eyelashes with the good glue. So those should be, yes, okay. All of the sticky from the front bit is neutralized. So they are ready to be used as bottom lashes. And it may seem like this would have been easier to do first, but just like there is a thought process here, I promise. I really needed to be able to see the whole face together to get a good positioning for these. So I'm thinking that having them come right off of the eyeliner is going to be probably the best look. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to get a little bitty line right on the edge of the eyeline there. And then I'm going to push the eyelash down. Sorry, I'm still like scratching. My face really is better. Like the dermatitis is almost gone. It's just still a little itchy. I'm trying really hard not to scratch it so it'll go away. Actually, just to give myself a little extra time to position those, I think it might be better if I do tacky glue rather than the quick hold. I think tacky glue will be strong enough since it's not like I'm going to be yanking on them. And it'll be easy enough to reposition them later, or not to reposition them, to re-glue them later if need be. But okay, so I'm just going to put a really thin amount onto there, onto the lash line, and then another really thin amount onto the eyelash themselves. Just the tiniest little bit, because you don't want it to like ooze out. You just want it, you want it to really stick to itself and nothing else. So I'm going to take my tweezers and grab as close to the lashes as I can get. And then I'm going to lay that right on top of that glue line and hold it. And just kind of fluff it out. All right, so we got one eyelash on there. And yes, you can see some glue coming out. Tacky glue dries clear. It is white at first. It will dry clear, and it will dry a tiny bit shiny, but I can just take some of my ultra matte top coat and cover over that very carefully with a little toothpick later. So I'm just tapping all down along the top of the eyelash itself to make sure that that's actually adhering, and then I'm going to just leave it alone. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Ooh, my glue is oozing. Ruh-roh. I'm going to have to clean that up before I put the cap back on it, so I'm going to have to set that over there. I'm going to do the same thing over here and just put a thin line on the lash line. And a thin line onto the lash itself. I'm just going to dip into the bit that's already oozing out, because if it's already exposing itself to the air, it's going to be extra tacky, which is exactly what I want. All right, and then just blow on it a little bit. Okay. That, push it down, and tap, 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 tap. I'm going to use my finger because I just want to scoot them a little bit so I can get them positioned basically in the same place on both sides. All right, so there's the finished look with the lashes. I'm going to leave those exactly where they are. I'm going to quickly mark where the piercings are going to go with my pencil. And then I'm going to add little dabs of glue. And then put the little gems on. Where's my sketchbook? Let's see, who's getting what? Who's getting what? All right. Abby is getting a bridge piercing, a Medusa, and a centered labre. So that's 2 of the silver, a third silver, and then the green. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 of these little itty bitty silver ones, 1 more of those little, oops, itty bitty silver ones. Let's flip that over and make sure I actually do have a silver one. Okay, yeah, silver. And then this little green one. And thanks. Okay, yeah, so the bridge piercing, let me just, the way that I did this was to just set one, kind of hold it on there where I want it, mark the other side, and then looking at that, mark across which is almost, it's kind of hard to see against her freckles, but it's darker in person. So that's how I'm going to do that. Now, for the Medusa, I just want to mark centrally about this high above the lip. And then this one, I'm going to use the line of the teeth and mark there and make sure that it's kind of in the little dip between the lip and the chin. Okay, so all the spaces are basically marked. Now I'm going to take my toothpick. Oops, here's my glue. Effie, you must move. Excuse you. I'm kind of rushing this last bit just because I want to do this before my light leaves. And I am coming up on, I think, oh my gosh, I've been streaming for 3 hours, but I said I was going to go until they were done, and I meant it. All right, so I'm going to tap this little dot of glue down here on top of the marking. Maybe I got to roll it off. It doesn't want to come off of the toothpick. This is quick hold glue, and it's very quick hold. It comes out already kind of goopy. So I'm going to do that and kind of roll it. And then I'm going to pick up my gem. Just plop that right on top of the glue. Need to scooch it just a little bit that way. I just got to make sure it's still on top of the glue. So if I scooch it, I have to like use my nail and scooch the glue with it. Okay. I keep bumping it. It's like just barely not quick hold enough that I keep bumping it as I have it in place. All right. Oh my gosh, this one already has glue on both sides. I'm gonna need more toothpicks ready. I need like an assistant to get these things ready. Okay, I'm gonna dab a little bit of that glue right there. I'm gonna hold that there because there's still glue on it, and I feel like I can keep using that. I know there's better way to pick these things up, but licking my finger is the fastest. So, all right. There we go. Bridge piercing done. Really going in a rush here. Okay, Medusa's next. So, I'm going to put this right here. Medusa piercing, also called a philtrum piercing. I have one of those myself. I also wear a green piece of jewelry in it. I'm not saying these girls are idealized versions of me, but you know, somebody else wants to put that idea out there. All right, get that little bit of glue in there. Make sure that it's spread enough that it will hold the gem from all sides, because these are itty bitty little gems. And if they fall off, I don't know that I'll be able to spot them. Oh, and put them back on. So I don't want to have to worry about them falling off. All right, I'm going to use the back of my nail to push that until the glue hardens a little bit. There's glue peeking out of this one, so I'm just going to kind of nudge it so that it doesn't look like a growth, if that makes sense. All right, there's another one done. She gets one more. Let me pull some of this glue off and see if I can reuse this Q-tip. Here we go. Get this last one. The blue one. Okay. Just holding it in place for a second to let the glue dry. That's okay. No worries. All right, so here is her final reveal. For now, I will be recurling her hair. It obviously didn't quite work right. So I ended up mostly straightening it into like a page boy kind of a style with a curled under. So here is Abby with her fun new piercings. All right. So I'm going to set you over here for a second so I can get your C-store. And let's see, what did I decide on for Effie? Oh no, I don't think I sketched what I, oh my gosh. Okay, so she's gonna get snake bites. So one about here, one about here. Let's see. Hair in my face, hair in your face. Not quite. Oh, good thing that's just tacky glue. I can wash that off later. I won't worry about it later. All right, I feel like that's pretty even on each side. She is also getting a philtrum piercing. I just really like philtrum piercings. Just in case that's not obvious. And then she also had one in each nostril. Which initially I was going to do rings in her nostrils, but I don't have rings that are small enough that they look good in a nostril right now. Or I should say that are thin enough. They just look really chunky. So I opted to go with a couple of gem studs instead. I think one of these is slightly higher than the other. So let's lower that a bit. Okay, ready to go. More piercings. Let me just get the tacky glue off of my sleeve. Because this is my new favorite shirt and I don't want to ruin it. My awesome new Junji Ito shirt. Okay, let's turn you back down. And I'm going to use basically the same process of getting a little bit of glue. Oh, hold on. Where did I put? I need to actually get the gems ready to go. See, I'm rushing because I'm trying to get it done and now I'm forgetting things. Okay. Yeah. So the two purple studs are going in the nose and they are a smaller size than the ones that are going under the lip. The philtrum and the nose studs are all slightly smaller. And that's unfortunately a necessity with the philtrum because of how I carved it. I actually kind of like when the philtrum piercing has a slightly larger gem than the other lip piercings. But I didn't carve the philtrums on either of them wide enough to do that. So I have to make them smaller. But that's okay. You live and you learn. next time I'll know if I want to have a philtrum gem that is the same size or larger, I have to carve a wider philtrum. All right, so I'm going to put a little spot of glue right over where I just marked for that right side lip piercing. Set the toothpick down, pick up a gem, and set it on the glue. Oop, I think I set it next to the glue. Can I lift and scoop it? There we go. All right. I don't want to press with the pad of my finger because sometimes the gems stick to my finger and then they come off. So I'm pressing with the back of my fingernail. All right, there's one. I'm going to get clean toothpick. Get some more glue. Oh my gosh, this glue is, this tube is becoming a mess. I really do need to change it. Oh, thanks. It was a birthday present. It's actually a frame from Junji Ito's Uzumaki with all of the little faces. And it's got more faces down the sleeve. I was kind of upset at first because they only had large and 2X. So I almost wasn't going to get it. Because the 2X is a little bit too big. So like the sleeves, I was worried would be like over my hands, but they have a good cuff on them, so they actually stay up. So I'm really glad that I did end up going back and that we got it. Damn it, I totally dropped that one. There we go. Get on the glue. Make sure it is in the right position. Oh, there's excess glue around this one for sure. Let's just roll that off. All right, so there's those. Clean off the Q-tip. I'm gonna get that philtrum next, and then I will do the nostrils. We are almost done. It is almost 7:30. Oh my gosh, it's a good thing I'm almost done because I still have to eat dinner, and my rabbit's gonna be looking to come out for nighttime playtime soon. This is by far the longest art stream I've ever done, but I was determined I was going to finish them on this stream. I wasn't going to do another one of this same project. I've been eager to finish them. Oops. Press that down. There's still a little bit of excess glue. I'm not going to worry too much about the excess glue because this glue, when it dries, it's kind of like E6000 where you can just rub it off and it'll like ball itself up and come off. All right, there's that one. Nostrils. Oh, good. I mean, that's kind of always my hope, you know, is that somebody else can learn something. I know my process isn't perfect and there's probably better ways to do some of the things that I do, but it works for me. Try and get some of this excess glue off. because these ones are really tiny gems and I probably didn't need nearly as much as I put on there. All right. Oop, it is just sliding around. Yeah, I definitely put too much glue. All right, well, let's just see if I can scrape some of that extra glue off. Yeah, all right. All right, there's one nostril. Exactly, it's what works for me. And it may end up being what works for somebody else who had no idea how to do something before, so, you know. I feel like it's always worth sharing. It's just getting goopy. It's almost like putting boogers on her nose. Because it starts out so goopy. Extra sticky boogers. Oh, I just noticed my music stopped again. Well, that's okay, because I'm about to be done. So, let me just make sure that these are even. Okay. Let me clean this up so I can close it really quick, and then I will. Oh, geez, it's just oozing. And my tacky glue is over here just oozing. I don't know what's going on with my tacky glue. You see this? Oh no. What a mess. I don't know what happened with that. It's a new bottle, so I don't know. Maybe it just had a lot of pressure built up. Okay. Let's give this hair a comb. All right. There she is, all finished. Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy with how well she came out. No, actually, my friend Mags made both of their little sweatshirts. Um, Pretty much every outfit that they have that wasn't made by me was made by Mags. My other dolls wear things that I get from like swaps and stuff, but most of their clothes comes from Mags just because I love her style. Um, Her Etsy is Mags Rockin' Style on Etsy, should you ever want to check her stuff out. So I'm trying to get them both on this camera, but this is, here we go. Oh, well, get my hand out of the way. Yes, oh my god, I'm so happy with them. Let me put them up here. Actually, if I do this, this would probably be easier. There we go. Now I got enough light, I think. Will it focus on both of them? It doesn't seem to want to focus on both of them because of the lighting. So, oh, there we go. There's my girls. Oh, I'm so happy. They came out so good. Oh my gosh. I love it. My two little models. I love them. Mags Rockin' Style. I'm always happy to promote my friends' shops. um, yeah, I get a lot of stuff from her. Actually, a lot of my jewelry that I wear on my streams, I also get from artist friends. A lot of my jewelry comes from either Dawn of the Dead on Etsy or Snake Shed Art. So I wear a lot of their stuff on my streams. And I have a mug that is from another artist friend called Perfectly Twisted Creations that I usually drink my margaritas out of. So yeah, my streams are often great promotion for other people. um, Let me just put this here while I do my little closing spiel because I am I'm done. I'm very tired. I'm very hungry. Okay, so that went very well actually. I was really nervous to do these two. I honestly, like, I started planning my twins, like, yeah, write them all down because they're all good shops. Donna the Dead, like Donna, because her name is Donna, which is like the coolest, the coolest Etsy shop ever. Anyway, yeah, so I started planning these two like almost 2 years ago now, and I haven't started on the actual work just because um I just honestly, like, I was so nervous that it wasn't gonna go well and I was gonna mess them up. And like I kind of did because Abby's first faceplate, like, I did actually attempt to do hers at one point and I messed it up and I wasn't happy with it at all, and it like scared me off from doing anything else with them because I was afraid I would make it worse. So I just didn't for a long time. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm just going to order a couple of faceplates. I'm going to start on it. And the faceplates were like $5 on AliExpress. So I'm like, I can't even be mad at myself. If I screw it up for $5, like, it was at least good practice. So yeah, I got through all of my in progress projects and just decided, like, I'm just gonna do this. This was gonna be my birthday present for myself, was I really wanted to finish them because I've wanted to make them like my main models for my doll photography for a really long time, and I just felt like they didn't really fully suit the style I wanted them to have, so they kind of haven't fulfilled that role yet. So I feel like now that they're done, I can actually, like, I can start doing that. I can take them around to places and like do more photography things with them. Um yeah, so I'm really happy with how well they came out. I'm glad they came out so well, honestly. I really was nervous. Like, I practiced a lot on just like sketches and stuff until I got looks down that I really liked for them. And I feel bad because I really did intend on this stream where I finished them to show the original looks and try and find who the original looks were made by so I could credit them. And I couldn't find them again. So if you're watching my streams and you recognize either of these makeup looks, please comment somewhere so I can find you, and I absolutely will credit you for being the inspiration for the looks. I don't know why I couldn't find them a second time. Neither of them were on the first page of results when I Google searched whatever keywords I searched. So I think that was what the problem was and why I couldn't find them again. Um, but, you know, they were really awesome makeup looks, and I would love to credit whoever did them. So, again, if it was you, let me know. I will credit you, I promise. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about them for now. I am going to be doing their tattooing process, I've decided, because I had enough people asking me that I think I will try and document that on a stream as well. Um, at least part of the process. I'm probably going to do like half of them ahead of time and then do the other half on my stream. But next week, I actually have something else planned that is not doll related, but has been asked for on other sites aside from Twitch and YouTube, but also on YouTube, which is a big stream on freezer paper uses in crafting. So I'm going to do freezer paper stenciling. I'm going to do like a freezer paper negative space stencil. I'm going to do a quick demonstration on using freezer paper to cut patterns on fabric. Um, if anybody has any requests for anything else that you've maybe heard of freezer paper being used for that you would like to see demonstrated, Like, this is last chance to get requests into me for that. But yeah, this is when I've kind of been planning a lot of things for. So yeah, I would be happy to tag you again, Tracy. No problem. So yeah, I'm gonna do that next week. I've been planning it for weeks, so I hope I have enough projects to make it interesting. Um, yeah, and before that, I will be doing Franbo stream again tomorrow, Thursday. And then probably more Visage over the weekend. I don't know. I'm really getting frustrated with that game because my game is very broken and it's making it really, really unnecessarily difficult to complete. So I don't know. I may or may not do that. But yeah, definitely Franbo stream. Oh, you know what? Actually, not tomorrow. That was one of the things I wanted to say was Franbo is going to be my Franbo stream. I I really am getting tired. This is the longest I've streamed in a very long time. My Franbo stream will not be tomorrow. It will be Friday. That's what I'm trying to get out of my brain. Okay, so here we go. Franbo tomorrow. Yeah, actually, Tracy, Franbo would be a good one to watch since it's a point and click game, so there's no first person viewing. It won't give you any motion sickness. I have about 2.5 hours of Franbo on my YouTube channel already. And just for anybody who might be lurking on Twitch who doesn't follow me on YouTube, my YouTube channel is also Spooky Doll Lady. Yeah, so I'm going to do a Franbo stream on Friday, which will be on my YouTube as of either Friday night or Saturday, depending on when I finish the stream. So, yeah, I'm going to do that over the weekend. Freezer paper next week. I don't think I'll be finishing Franbo this week, so I'll probably do another Franbo for next week's game. But that will likely be the end. So if you have a game that you think I should play on my stream, anybody out there, let me know. And when I finish Franbo, I will start a new game in a couple of weeks. So, I think that's it for today. Where's my phone notify? Oh my god, my phone is like blowing up all of a sudden. Okay, I'm gonna take that as a cue. I gotta end so I can go eat. I can let my rabbit out to play, and I can clean up the literal like tornado of a mess that has just accumulated around me on the floor. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you Friday and then next week for freezer paper tutorials. Alright, bye!